Hi, my name is Murray Smith. I'm president of Mainland China Trading. We have offices in Dallas, Beijing, and Shanghai. And the reason for doing this video, I know it's kind of a home movie video, but I wanted to try to take some of the mystery out of dealing with the Chinese and showing you a little bit about what we do and how we do it. And it's amazing to me, even still, that so many factories in the United States, buyers, distributors, don't really understand China, haven't really tried to buy from China or manufacture in China. So I'm here to try to take some of the mystery out of that. Now here we are on a project site outside of Shanghai, crossing over the Yangtze River right there. You can see some of the container cranes that ship and unload and load the container ships. And I wanted to show you just how much of a boom is going on in China right now. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Even every time we go over there, it seems to be growing every month. And this is really almost the center of the universe, you feel like. Here we are on the airport. That's my wife and partner, Wei, my son Murray III there. Just coming into the airport for the first time. There's some of our staff, Mr. Xu, Ying. This is a hotel where we're staying. It's a 4-star hotel. Showing you the brunch. It's about $70 a night outside of Shanghai. And we're here to meet a buyer from the United States. He's actually an entrepreneur, privately funded. And he builds medical exam tables, surgical tables, been in the business for quite some time. There's Wei on the phone, organizing the meeting for tomorrow. And we're going to go inspect the factory and look and see what they've done so far. Now, understand that we can do any project that makes sense to do in China. I mean, obviously, there are certain things that don't make sense to do in China, but we can do anything with metal, wire, plastic, consumer electronics, medical. This just happens to be a medical table project. We have our own engineering staff, and we also use the engineering staffs of the factories that we contract. Now, this is the factory, and this is their showroom. And just as an aside, we visited with about 6 different medical bed and surgical table manufacturers in China. 5 of them didn't pass our quality test. This one did. So here we are, going through their product lines. Now this particular company does not export in the United States yet. So we were able to get an exclusive contract with the company to sell into the United States. Very high quality, very good products. Now we're going to change some of the style, and soon our customer will be coming in. By the way, on this trip, which was a recent trip, we were there for 2 months, and we had several clients come meet us on several different projects. One was an electronics project, another one was a furniture project, which we'll show you here in a minute. And this is a nice factory, and they have a nice, clean courtyard and facility, which we like to see. Now here we are in the R&D room, and this is the frame, the skeleton for the chair that we're going to be manufacturing for the client. This was all designed from scratch. As a matter of fact, our engineers and their engineers worked to actually redesign the product when the client showed up. So he's showing us here a prototype, and it's looking pretty good. We took our client out to dinner for the first night. This is a place that just serves crab. Now they have an assortment of vegetables and side dishes, but all these are restaurants, and they're all full for a 2-month time period. It was a lot of fun. We had picked up our client. There he is on the left, David Woodruff, and then our staff and the factory staff. And eating is a big deal in China. And we always like to take our clients out whenever we can. That's just part of it, being in China, the big celebratory dinner. So here we are back at the factory the next day with the client. David there on the left, there's me on the right, some of our staff, their staff, and starting to look at the different products that they manufacture before we get into dealing with our own design. And David is obviously pleased with what he's seeing. There's their engineer on the right, and the factory owner right there next to him, and then Wei Smith. There's me on the right. And we're looking at some surgical tables. What's interesting about this surgical table right there is that we can acquire that table for $8,500. It retails for $38,000 in the United States. And obviously David's pleased with what he's seeing. It's a 3-motor table. And again, sorry for the home video footage, but this is really just kind of an example of how we deal with our clients, deal with our different customers, distributors, with our factory owners. Our relationships are strong, and we'd love to do a project for you if you have anything coming up. Interesting thing too is we didn't really know a whole lot about medical and surgical exam tables, but we do now, and we know how to find the right people that can do them. So understand that building those relationships, doing the quality control is a very important part of what we do. And obviously the client's very pleased. I mean, he's been in the business for 17 years. He likes what he saw. So here we are with the client. He's looking at his new prototype. And we're figuring out some angles and FDA requirements on what the table needs to do and how it needs to perform to meet American standards. Now again, this is really pretty much a prototype in R&D phase, but within 3 days we were able to knock out a design the client was happy with and start tooling. We expect to become the largest customer of this factory. So that's Mr. Shu, one of our engineers there on the right, which you met earlier, and their staff. And eating is a big part of Chinese culture. And this is very common. Every meal gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And we'll keep you away from the chicken feet right there. So obviously the client's pleased. And again, the focus here of this video is to take the mystery out of what we do. Many times we insist that a client come over to China and inspect their products before they're actually loaded. We can send you samples. We can take pictures, send pictures to you ahead of time, send production samples or pre-production samples. Anything to make you feel comfortable with the production process. By the way, our offices in Beijing are set up to accommodate visitors for multiple night stays if that's necessary. This is an example of a factory floor. These floors in this production facility was as modern as really pretty much any American factory. And again, we don't always use a very high quality factory if the product specs and tolerances don't require us to provide a real high quality product. It might be a lower quality product at a different price. This particular one needed to be high quality. Now back to the corporate offices to go over documents and contracts. And again, just kind of showing you here that China is not a scary place to do business if you know the right people. It's relationships that are everything in China. And our staff over there are capable of doing, like I said, many different kinds of projects. And here's Wei and one of our engineers going over the contracts. It's looking good. That's just kind of an interesting shot I took outside the factory, from the factory rather, showing corn drying on a parking lot, and every ounce, every inch, everything being used in China. Very efficient culture. And this is just on the other side of the factory walls. And again, this is a suburb outside of Shanghai. Now, we went into Shanghai, took our client there, just to show him kind of what was going on in Shanghai. And we're about to show you some pretty famous pictures of what you might see in the magazines or on the news of what's called the Bund on the riverfront in Shanghai. So it's a radio tower there. And when you're there, you really pretty much feel like it's the center of the universe. It's the place to be. If you're not manufacturing in China or acquiring goods in China, you really ought to consider it. And we can escort you and help you with that process. Here's a night view. Kind of interesting to see all the activity that's going on in this part of the country, this part of the world. You can even see office buildings where the entire building is a TV screen. I mean, the country is just booming over there. So again, you really ought to consider letting us help you manufacture and escorting you through the maze of dealing with China. Because if you don't know the right people over there, you can certainly get into trouble. Some of the beautiful architecture in China on the Bund, built by the British and the French. It's hard to capture with the camera, really, the amazing views, the night views of Shanghai. There's our client there, David, taking a few shots to take home. Like I said, I'd like to think that our company is uniquely positioned to be able to help you manufacture, buy, source, and purchase in China. Here we are at some of our corporate offices. That's one of our agents from the States wanted to come visit us. He's an independent salesman for us. This is some of the most expensive real estate in China. This is back in Beijing. Just showing you around some of the offices that we sublet up here. And out to show you our staff here. We're all out having lunch. There's our driver back there. Like I said, our agent from the States. A couple of our staff. And meals like this are just typical. And by the way, you may want to go over to China with us or without us. We can still escort you and have the right people there, even if we're not there. Here's some of our factory offices. There's Mr. Shu you met earlier. We actually have a CEO from Kentucky right back here who is working on a special project in concrete. More of our staff. There's Wei. And these are just our little factory offices. Some more of our engineers that are working on sourcing and building relationships with factories. Then we went to pick up another client who's in the furniture business from Cincinnati. There he is there in the car. We had 2 drivers and 2 cars bring us to the factory. And we're doing a large chair project. These chairs are actually waiting room chairs going into a LASIK eye care chain that is expanding into shopping malls. And there I am walking in. I'm not the one holding the camera. Factory executives come down to meet us with their assistants. And again, the example here is to show you what we think is a good factory that we would work with. Here's part of their production facility. This is our project going on right here. These are metal chairs with wood armrests and cloth seats. There's an interpreter. Actually, Wei was not with us on that day because she had to go to another project with another client. So we split up that day. And that was Joe Palacios back there. He's inspecting his order that'll be actually shipped the next weekend. Going through assembly here, finish. You can see the capacity of this factory, capable of doing thousands of chairs a day actually. So our order of only 600 chairs was actually pretty small. There's our client there, inspecting the different chrome finishes. So again, the objective here is for you to see what we're doing and how we're doing it. And it's all about knowing the right people in China. I mean, our people will oversee quality, make sure everything is done right, send you pictures, send you samples, and then hope you get over there at least on the first order to inspect it yourself. Not entirely necessary, but something that we recommend. And we can get the right people in for the job. And believe it or not, there are a lot of factories where it's not automated at all. I mean, this is a factory that you could easily see in the United States. They're quite capable of doing any kind of custom furniture that we need to do. In this case, obviously, it's metal. But the wood pieces for the armrests came out beautifully. Now here we are at the airport picking up my partner, Brandon Bertrand. He manages all the agents as well as a call center in Denton, Texas. Currently we have a staff of 8 people up there right now. So here we are in the control center of this particular factory. Obviously the factory owner wanted to show off his fancy video equipment. So we brought our client and my partner Brandon, and there's Wei and factory owner. And again, we just want to show you that we could find you the right factory for the right job. I mean, this is a great automated factory doing a lot of great work. But whatever your project is, we can typically find a home for it. We're doing some Bluetooth projects, we're doing some consumer electronics, we're doing a lot of other furniture. We do a lot of shelving, a lot of wire. We do some sheet metal stamping and cutting, bending, forming. We do some plastics. But again, whatever your need is, we'd love to be able to bid on the project and see if we can help you. And like I said, China is not a scary place to do business, but you just have to know how to do business with them. And this is part of the finishing of that same factory, just to show you some of their inventory. And again, a lot of their product is not for United States import, but for other countries. And this is just to show you some of the detail of how things get done in China. But again, if you'd like to hear more about what we do, please feel free to contact us. You can contact me directly, MURRAY at mainlandchinatrading.com, or you can give us a call, 214-257-8300. We'll be glad to see if we can fulfill your needs in manufacturing assembly. But again, please feel free to contact us anytime. We very much appreciate your sticking with the video. I know it's kind of a home movie, but that's what we want it to be. We want to show you that it's all about the family relationships that we can maintain and build over there. Well, obviously this is not furniture that you might want to see in your house, but maybe in some Singapore family's home or somebody in the Philippines. That's where a lot of this furniture will end up. And again, on this particular trip, we had visits to electronics factories and very different factories. But I want you to realize that we can handle the project. So if you'd like to call us or contact us, you can click on the contact page on our website. If you have any other questions or any projects you'd like to discuss, please consider me a resource. So again, thanks for sticking with this. That was kind of a long video, but maybe you got some impression of what it's like over in China. It's not really scary if you know the right people. So thanks so much for sticking with this, and hope to talk to you soon.